Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hei5man Live. This is a segment I like to do when I'm off the cuff and just going live when I need to be. So, I didn't get a chance to do Raw, Smackdown, and Dynamite last week because I was on vacation and whatnot. So, I'm here now. I'm in beautiful Lake Lore, North Carolina, as you can see right here, right on the lake. But let's get into it. So, with Raw, we had um, Dominic, Liv Morgan, and the Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest segment. So that 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 that's getting underway with their feud. There's going to be a match at Bash in Berlin between the four of them. That continues to brew. So on Monday, Rhea Ripley came out and basically addressed, Dominic, how he stabbed her in the back, and all of a sudden, Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio were in the crowd. Liv and Dominic were talking to Rhea like, "Oh, you'll never get my title. Dom's with me." And Rhea Ripley stated that it's great to hear your voice because we know exactly where you are. Damian Priest emerges from the crowd behind the curtain, and there's a nice brawl between Dominic and Damian Priest. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley is running up the crowd, chasing Liv Morgan, so that feud continues. I did, however, get to turn on Raw and watch the match between Damian Priest and Carlito. It was something that kind of brewed the Judgment Day Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley feud. Damian Priest ended up winning. He got jumped by the Judgment Day. Meanwhile, Rhea Ripley's music hit. She comes out. She kicks Finn Balor in the groin. He goes down. She starts fighting, and then Dominic gets in the ring. Rhea Ripley's about to do a riptide to him. Crowd wanted to see it. They were excited. Rhea Ripley pulls him to safety, and they get out of there. That's probably going to happen at Bash in Berlin. Dominic's definitely going to get what's coming to him. And then from there, I don't know. I don't know where they go with this feud after Bash in Berlin once that happens. But Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest are really getting their babyface feud in, which is, their babyface turns in, which is great. We had the segment between Gunther and Randy Orton. Randy Orton stated it's been 20 years since he defeated Chris Benoit at SummerSlam. And it's kind of fitting that when Randy Orton and Gunther faced off for the first time, Gunther was wearing a nice suit with that world title, and it kind of brought me back to Randy Orton in 2004 when he was world champion. He had a nice tux. He had a nice suit on with the world title, and it was kind of a throwback to that. I like that. So Randy Orton and Gunther, they really respected each other, but they didn't in their segment. And then all of a sudden, Drew McIntyre comes out, and he's stating how he wants a shot at the world title. Meanwhile, CM Punk emerges from the crowd and starts beating up Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre beats up Punk, takes his belt off, and starts lashing Punk. Meanwhile, Punk he deflects that and then starts whipping Drew McIntyre. It looks like they're doing a little tease of what the match is going to be. Possibly Bash in Berlin. I would say the best of three. So we had Money in the Bank. We had SummerSlam in their first match. We're going to have Bash in Berlin for the second. And then for the third match, we're going to have Bad Blood, which is kind of fitting in a Hell in a Cell. Looks like that's where they're going. So then what else happened? We had the Wyatt 6 VHS tape. So it was basically another Uncle Howdy segment. No appearance from them tonight, just the VHS tape. So Uncle Howdy's basically saying, the work must continue, the family history must go on. Now that we had the 6-man tag last week, and the Wyatt 6 ended up winning. Are they done with the American Made? Are they going to move on to another feud? I don't know. All I know is, before the American Made versus Akira Tozawa and Otis was, that match was going on, there was a segment, a video package of Chad Gable, who was in France. He said he didn't want to deal with it. He's like, I'm not there because I don't know what the Wyatt Six is going to do. So they might be teasing another, I don't know, they might tease another continuation. I don't know. American Made gets the win. Meanwhile, Ivy Nile turns on Maxine. So that feud's still brewing. And then we had the 2 out of 3 falls with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker. That was great. I mean, WWE really knows that the fans really, their chemistry between Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn is there. That's why they did this match on free television, mind you. Braun Breaker won. He had a great backstage segment, and he basically held up his title and said, see that nameplate? This title's not going anywhere. Kind of like with Gunther with the Intercontinental Championship. Who's going to beat Braun Breaker? I don't know. He could hold that title for at least a year, maybe a year and a half. And then we had Odyssey Jones. So I haven't been watching it because crazy work schedule and vacations. But I watch JD from NY every week, recap, going over Raw, SmackDown, what happened, as well as Dynamite. So he keeps talking about Odyssey Jones. He came up 2 years from NXT. They haven't done anything with him. And I was like, who is this guy, Odyssey Jones? It looks like they're replacing him with Big E, and he's got a lot of charisma. His wrestling skills are really good. So I ended up watching the highlights from last night's match, where he beat Vincent. And I like what I saw. He's definitely got the charisma. Meanwhile, you got, Karrion Kross telling Xavier Woods that Kofi Kingston is replacing Xavier with Odyssey Jones, and Xavier is, is he telling the truth? I don't know. What else? I think that was it for Raw. It was from what I saw from the highlights. I'm glad WWE is doing highlights for people like me and other people who are busy, crazy, and they don't have time to watch the show. Doing the highlights of everything that happened on the show, I think, is a really, really good touch. On SmackDown, we had Nia Jax. Her celebration was interrupted by Michin. I think that match is happening next week. I'm not sure. We had LA Knight and Santos Escobar next week in DC, which will be, kind of cool. United States Championship in DC being defended. That'll be nice. What else? Street Profits won our number 1 contenders for the tag titles. As far as DIY, they keep losing these matches, and I think it's time that Triple H takes the reins and splits them up, and we get a little NXT back in the day from Black and Gold. We get Johnny Gargano as the babyface and Tommaso Ciampa as the heel. They have their feud. I believe it's 2019-18. They had their feud. It was really cool. What else happened? We had what else did we have? I'm trying to think. What else happened on SmackDown? It wasn't, there were bits and pieces of what was happening, what was dealing with the show, but as far as storyline wise, there wasn't really much going on compared to Monday Night Raw. What else happened? Of course, Roman Reigns, he wanted to get the Ula Fala back from Solo Sikoa. He attempted to get the Ula Fala back, only for he beat up Tama Tonga, Tangaloa. He beat up Solo Sikoa. He tried to do a spear. Jacob Fatu came back from a couple weeks ago? No, it was SummerSlam. He was selling the injury. He had a boot on his foot, but that didn't stop him from beating the crap out of Roman Reigns. They do a triple powerbomb, and Roman Reigns is taken off the schedule. So Roman Reigns is probably going to come back. For the USA re-debut or return for SmackDown, I believe sometime in October. So they're going to load that show up. Roman Reigns is going to come back. I don't know if Paul Heyman's coming. Maybe Paul Heyman will come back. That would be pretty cool. Maybe Jimmy. It is October, so we got a month and 3 weeks until Survivor Series. So maybe they'll start building the War Games. Starting the SmackDown, for USA Network. I think that would be great if WWE did that. If they started the build for Survivor Series at the first SmackDown for USA. I think that's what WWE needs to do. I'm trying to think about what else happened. It'd be great if I had notes, but I didn't think I needed notes. I went over the highlights. What else happened? Street Profits won the number one contenders. I don't know when that match is going to take place. They're going to face the Bloodline for that. Bloodline's probably going to win, but then again, Street Profits might win, because if WWE is going to start building this feud for War Games, do they really need the tag titles? But then again, it will show their dominance if they end up beating the Street Profits. We'll see. A very, very good one. We had Kevin Owens versus Grayson Waller. Kevin Owens ended up winning. This is the last thing that happened. Very good highlight here. So I watched the highlight of this match. Kevin Owens versus Grayson Waller. Kevin Owens ended up winning. And then Austin Theory comes out with a chair, or he starts beating up Kevin Owens. And then Austin Theory goes to get a chair. He gives Grayson Waller a chair. They're about to beat up Kevin Owens. Meanwhile, Cody Rhodes' music hits. Crowd goes crazy. They love Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes comes out with the title, slides it in the ring, and I said to myself while watching the highlights, this title is going to play a role. I guarantee it. So Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens beat up Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, get him out of the ring. They hit him both with chairs. Kevin Owens hits a stunner. They're out of the ring. All of a sudden, they're looking at each other, sign of respect. Meanwhile, Kevin Owens picks up the title and is almost looking at it and kind of doesn't give it to Cody because he wants it for himself. So they're teasing that match at Bash in Berlin. It's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens at Bash in Berlin. And people are, comparing this to AEW. Don't compare. Just watch the show. I mean, Cody Rhodes is doing this as a favor for helping him. Kevin Owens helping him to help him with the Bloodline. So he's, Kevin Owens is like, oh, I don't deserve that. But Kevin, you do, because you were helping Cody all those months with Bloodline. So at least you have a shot at the title. Kevin Owens isn't winning, but at least he has his respect for Cody. And if you have Cody's respect, you're gonna, Cody's the champion. He can let, Nick Aldis know who deserves the title shot and who doesn't. Kevin Owens does, because he's helped him for months with the Bloodline. So Kevin Owens grabbed the title, gave it back to Cody, and just patted him on the back. So that match is happening at Bash Berlin. We got Randy Orton versus Gunther for the title. That should be good. Now, my friend Theo, I talked to him yesterday while I was out on the lake. Right there, what was it? Right there on the dock. I was talking to him, audio. We go live probably every pay-per-view. Talk about the pay-per-view, what's going on with wrestling. So he pointed out that, Randy Orton, realistically, Gunther's winning this title. For sure. Just to prove his dominance as a champion. But let's see if Randy Orton wins this match. Okay? And then, my friend Theo started talking about the Vince McMahon formula of champion versus champion. That way you get Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton, champion versus champion. Randy Orton with the World Heavyweight Championship. Cody Rhodes is the Undisputed Championship. That way you have them feuding off. But then you have Randy Orton going into January as world champion for the Netflix show. The Netflix Raw show. They're going to build that show up very, very nicely. What better way to have the Netflix Raw show than for Randy Orton to be champion? John Cena says he's going to be there at the Netflix show. What better way for John Cena? It's going to be in the Netflix show in Raw is going to be in January. Only 2 weeks from the Royal Rumble. I believe it's in Indianapolis. What better way for John Cena to say, hey, we've never faced at WrestleMania. Let's say I enter myself into my last Royal Rumble. I win the Royal Rumble, and I face you at WrestleMania for that world title to chase number 17. That way, you get John Cena chasing number 17. You get John Cena and Randy Orton at WrestleMania, which has never happened before, but it's all, the fans have always wanted it. I mean, it's the last year for John Cena. Why not do that match? The question is, does Randy Orton go over John Cena, or does John Cena win number 17? John Cena plays a factor into this match with Randy Orton and Gunther. But then, watching JD, he went over that Gunther is going to win the title at Bash in Berlin. It's in Germany. I mean, walking in as champion, that's what he wants. So Triple H gave it to him. He gave him the title at SummerSlam, so he's walking in as champion. So this is what JD said. JD from NY, if you're watching, dude, I thank you because, I'm doing this because of you. You've inspired me to do this. So anyway, he was saying Gunther beating Randy Orton for the championship. Randy Orton losing his shot at the world title, only for him to look at SmackDown and see Kevin Owens getting a undisputed Universal Championship for Cody Rhodes. He knows what's going on. So if he loses that match, he's going to say, Cody just gave him that title. Meanwhile, I get this all brewed from their match at King of the Ring. What was it? Gunther's shoulder wasn't up. Randy Orton's shoulder wasn't up. So they redid them. They're redoing the match. But for the world title. So Randy Orton sees that Kevin Owens is Cody Rhodes deserving of Kevin Owens getting a world title, a title shot. Orton is very upset at this. Randy Orton heel turn. We get Cody and Randy at some point. So anyway, but going to Gunther, retaining his title at Bash in Berlin, he goes into January for the Netflix show. John Cena's there. Just like with Randy Orton, just like I stated earlier, he states to Gunther, I'm going to enter myself into the Royal Rumble. I'm going to win the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to face you at WrestleMania. So you basically have a Rusev John Cena-like WrestleMania. You've got the villain, the European villain, versus the American hero John Cena. Meanwhile, he's chasing number 17, the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, could we see Cody Rhodes versus John Cena? Sure, but whether it's Gunther or whether it's Randy Orton, them two versus John Cena will be a very good WrestleMania match, and I'm all for that. So that was Raw and Smackdown, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited to see what happens next week. I'll probably end up doing this again. I might do a review Tuesday for Raw, and then SmackDown I might do Saturday when I come back from North Carolina. But Dynamite, that's what I'm getting into right now. With AEW announcing All In Texas. I went to the first Dynamite in October of 2019. October 2nd of 2019. as soon as the Dynamite music ended and the camera started going, the crowd went crazy. AEW, it was such a cool moment, man. And I really hate to say this. I've been watching AEW since the inception. I went to, like I just said, I went to the first show in October. I've watched every single week since. I haven't been watching the last couple weeks. Now, watching JD, hearing his recaps, some weeks have been good, some have sucked. And I agree with him. Like, some of the feuds right now are good. The build for All In is very good. But there's some stuff I just don't care about. I feel like AEW is just there right now, and I don't want to feel that way. I want the company to succeed. What will give AEW a shot in the arm? What could give AEW a shot in the arm? Well, this might be it. I mean, they've tried multiple things. They're going into a TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. They might do a streaming deal with HBO Max, and which would be great because they're doing all these pay-per-views $50 a month. Do people really want to fork over $50 for all these pay-per-views? Some of them aren't even that good. I don't think so. I mean, you got All In and All Out within a span of 2 weeks. That's $100, within 2 weeks. I think AEW making this move to going all in Texas next year, it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's a very, very good move because, as much as I love European crowds, WWE is doing this thing right now where they take the smaller PLEs and they're putting them in the international markets. France, Germany, Puerto Rico. Where else? They'll probably go to Italy. They'll go to maybe Greece one day. They go to Australia. They go to Saudi Arabia. But that crowd in France for Backlash, I've never seen a crowd that great in my entire life. Maybe what was it? ECW One Night Stand 2006. That was a great pay-per-view. But the crowd there was just so crazy, and WWE knows what they're doing in their international markets. And cities are bidding. Cities from all over Europe, all over the country are bidding for these pay-per-views to come to the city. I mean, half the time, it's crazy because, if it's a bad match, the crowd will make it a good match. They'll start cheering, they'll start going crazy, like for a spot. It's great. And, AEW, like, I condone them. I applaud them for, going to London, the second All In, announcing that, this is, it's been since 2018 since the All In, and they're like, we're announcing, All In London. I was like, holy crap, like, they ended up getting, 80,000 or whatever the number was, very, very high, over 70,000 people. This year they're doing 35,000, not even half of that. So what's to say to AEW, oh, we're going to go to Wembley again next year? What, 25,000, 15,000? That's not good. I mean, I love the European crowds, but something needs to change. Your base market is in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that, the entire, the professional wrestling fans all around the world, but you have to look at it realistically. AEW and WWE are United States companies. Your base market is in the United States. Sure, you have people from Europe just like a WrestleMania. Like I went to WrestleMania 33 and there were people from London sitting right next to me. My friend went to WrestleMania in Philadelphia. He had people from Ireland sitting next to him. My friend Theo. It's a good move for the company. It's good for the company economically, because Texas such a big state. People all over from Texas are going to be there. Easy traveling for people all over the United States, even Canada. You can get a flight very cheap if you look hard enough for the United States flight to Texas. You get your Airbnb. You get, what you need. You can take a whole group. Like, we got 6 people here doing an Airbnb, and it's been great. It's a great adventure, and like you can make an adventure out of it. You can go to Texas. You can spend a week in Texas, like families. But going to Europe, it gets expensive. The flights over to Europe are very expensive. The hotels, the Airbnbs, they're relatively affordable, but it's the flights that kill you. Um, yeah, like people from the Northeast, Northwest, Midwest, Southeast, Southwest. It's I wouldn't say a short trip, but it's there. It's there. It's good. It's good for the economy. And if AEW wants to grow as a company, this is something they need to do. They need to. I don't think Texas has ever had a pay per view. This is a good move for AEW. I think it's going to be at the Texas Ranger Stadium, which it's a stadium show. It's going to be their third, obviously all-in stadium show, but I'm still on the fence about going to AEW World's End in Orlando in December because like I said, the shows haven't been that good. It's just there. I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel that way. But do I really want to spend close to $100 for a ticket? Drive all the way to 2 hours to Orlando and 2 hours back to watch a show that is, there might be some surprises. Tony Khan, Mr. Pay-Per-View, he always does good on pay-per-views, but when it comes to the main shows, Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, it lacks the creative juices sometimes. But pay-per-views sometimes, some have been duds, but most of them have been very good. It's also good for the talent. The talent doesn't have to, do a show in Georgia, and then fly all the way to Europe for 4 days. Be for over there 4 days, be jet lagged, and then have to perform a show 2 days later. They're going to be, they're not going to perform the way they would if they were being in the United States and just home base, so to speak. It's also good for people. Well, as far as content creators go, it's going to be a late night, obviously, because shows in London, they'd start at 2 p.m. end at 5 or 6. Streamers would go 6 o'clock, end at 8 o'clock, and be great. But I think this is a really good move for AEW if they want to grow. We'll probably hear more about it as the weeks come, tickets and pricing and all that. And I think it's a good move. But guys, I think that's going to do it for me for this triple threat recap. AEW, WWE, and AEW going to All In. Brought my Raw and Smackdown, post shows, what I thought about them. Like I said, I have access to watching Raw. I have access to watching Dynamite, but I'm with family, so I'd rather do that than watch wrestling. But like I said, I'll get to the highlights. I might do a short here and then. Gamescom is this week. I'm not going to be watching that, but I'm going to be watching what games were revealed. I might do a short on that. The surprises that are happening. Apparently, there's going to be some special guests for Xbox. Apparently, the rumor is Forza Horizon 5 might come to PlayStation, which, I'm an Xbox guy. I have an Xbox. The more games that people can play, no matter what platform, the better. But again, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Again, this was Hei5man Live. Have a good week, guys. If you hear from me, it'll at least be a short. But that's gonna be about it for this week. But I may or may not be. Again, with my crazy week for work, I may or may not be, back into the swing of things next week. But at least you got this. So again, guys, thank you for the support. I'll see you guys later. Have a good week.